Hey guys, and welcome to or back to the Paws and Pursuit podcast with your host, Summer Clark. So I'm very excited today because this is the last podcast episode that I have to record because I've been recording batch podcast episodes to schedule them to upload while I'm away at KCI Dogs in Need, and this is the last one. So obviously, again, like last week, I can't really go through my previous week because it's the same week that I've already been through because I'm batch recording them like in the same week, so that won't work out. But the fact that I'm going away has inspired me to do a camping survival guide for agility competitors. Now, this is mainly for people in a tent because caravanning or motorhoming, you know, you're living the life of luxury really. You're all right. But so, you know, you can kind of take this if you're doing that, but this is mainly for people in a tent. It's a lot living out of a tent, or even a caravan to be fair, for, what is it, I'm away for 11 days. And even just 3 days even. You know, there's things that you've got to put into place to make sure you are comfortable, your dog's comfortable, everything runs smoothly. So I thought I'd take you through 20 of my top tips to surviving camping at an agility show for all you competitors thinking of doing so. Or if you've done it before and struggled and been put off, I hope these tips sort of help you get back into it. So let's get straight into it. Now, I would just like to take a minute to introduce you guys to the podcast sponsor, Huel. So here I have one of the ready to drink Huel meals, the berry flavour. Huel ready to drink is a meal in a bottle with over 20 grams of protein. It really is the perfect meal for when you are on the go. You don't need to sacrifice convenience or nutrition, you can have both with ready to drink. Each serving has 26 vitamins and minerals. This means every bottle of ready to drink has 175 health benefits. It is made from natural ingredients such as coconut, sunflower seeds, tapioca, pea protein, flax seeds and hemp seed protein. Every meal is vegan and it has no gluten, no palm oil, no GMO, no lactose and no animal products whatsoever. It comes in 8 delicious flavours including iced coffee caramel and strawberries and cream, as well as the classics like vanilla, chocolate and banana. It is absolutely delicious and just tastes like a milkshake. It is widely sold in supermarkets, petrol stations and corner shops around the UK, and it can be conveniently purchased online. I found out about Huel because I was looking for a product that would give me all the nutrients that I need while travelling to events and staying over at competitions and training events. So when it's time to refuel and have a meal, I can just drink a ready to drink Huel product and get all my nutrients quickly, easily and without cooking. It's perfect when I don't have the time or the facilities to cook. For example, when I'm camping at a competition, I'm going to be drinking at least one a day at KCI Dogs in Need. If you're super busy just like me, then you really don't want to miss out. You can easily and conveniently shop ready to drink from Huel at the link uk.huel.com/paws. I hugely appreciate anyone and everyone that uses my link as it helps keep this podcast running, and every sale through that link helps keep my podcast going. Buying through my link also gets you a free t-shirt which will be auto applied at the checkout. If you subscribe to a Huel order, you can save 10%. You can choose how often your subscription comes, for example every 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, etc. And these are super easy to manage on the website and you can edit whenever you like. uk.huel.com/paws. Number 1 is pack in advance. Now this is the same thing as just a normal holiday. Pack at least, I'd say, 2 days in advance. We're leaving Wednesday morning. Monday is my packing day. I'm off to get my nails done Tuesday and I'd rather just chill the day before, to be honest, than rush last minute. There is nothing worse than packing the night before you leave or the morning before you leave for your holiday. So yeah, about 2 days in advance, one at the most, one at the least, sorry. And 2 is ideal because a lot of the time I have packed and then a day after I thought, oh, I also need this. So you need to leave that room to remember things you may have forgot. Maybe that's just because I'm a very forgetful person, but that works well for me. Allowing that time to add things or take things away, or, you know, maybe look at the weather forecast again. But yeah, just pack in advance for you and your dog because it just alleviates that stress and that rushing, which to me, rushing ruins everything. And it just gives you that time to remember anything that you forgot, and you're more likely to take everything you need. So number 2 is travel light. This can be tricky, but travel as light as you can. You've got to be quite strategic, but again, there's nothing worse, especially if you're only in a small space like a small caravan or tent, than having like your entire wardrobe in a bag. I hate having to like force it all in a bag and then you open it and it all flings out everywhere. That's horrible. it is way more calming and less stressful to have a small amount of things that you've packed. And then also, you know where everything is in the suitcase, you know what you're wearing for what day and what event and stuff like that. So don't take things for the sake of it, be sensible about it and travel light. That ties in to the third point, which is pack clothing for every possible weather condition, including spares, however still travel light. So let me explain a few hacks to do this. So say you're going away we're going away for 4 days, then coming back home for a night, repacking, and then doing 7 days. So say you're packing for 7 days. Take an outfit, take 7, see, this is the thing. For me, I will wear leggings or shorts multiple days in a row. So for a week, I maybe only take 2 pairs of shorts, but then you also want to think about other weather. So maybe 2 shorts, 2 leggings, 2 joggers, or even just 1 jogger if it's in the summer. So probably 2 shorts, 2 leggings, 2 joggers. And obviously having 2 means that you can change them halfway if you need to, or if they get wet, then you've got that spare. But tops, I change every day. So you're going to want 7 tops. And then you've got to think about what if the weather, what could the weather do? So again, take maybe 5, if it's 7 days, maybe 4 vests, 4 tops, and maybe 2 hoodies. Again, you can wear re-wear hoodies. And again, you can still wear vests if it's bad weather, if you've got that hoodie over it. So it's about being strategic like that, but think about, every possible outcome of weather. Take a raincoat, but at the same time, take your shorts and your vests. But then at the same time, take your longer leggings, take your longer shirts, take your hoodie, stuff like that. But just try and be sensible about it. So 7 days, maybe take 8 tops, half vests, half longer tops or normal tops, just to give you that leeway, because anything could happen. The weather forecast, to be honest, is completely random and is often false anyway. But yeah, you want those spares just in case you get soaked. And obviously you can't dry things quickly there, so you'll want spare clothes for that. Hence maybe take 8 or 9 instead of 7, if that makes sense. So you've got those 2 spares if necessary. But if you brought stuff like coats and raincoats, then that should keep you dry and you shouldn't need to. And a dry robe, oh my god, a dry robe, that'll stop you having to, get your leggings wet. Get your leggings wet and having to change those and stuff like that. So number 4 is pack according to how many days you're away for. God, I'm joking. I always do that at least once an episode, including extra events. So for example, KCI and Dogs in Need. So for KCI, I will take clothes for 4 days. So 4 days worth of clothes, like I just explained, but then also think about any extras you're doing there. So for example, yes, I'll want my 4 outfits that I'm going to wear during the day for the competitive day. But then also I know that there is a party on one of the nights, and I know that me and my friends usually go out another one of the nights. So that's at least 2 more outfits that I'll need that are sort of more going out casual clothes than agility clothes, if that makes sense. So you've got to make sure you remember, oh yes, I've got clothes for this one day, but is there something else happening that day, like in the evening, that I'll need other clothes for, and then other shoes. So instead of just my trainers, I'll take my pair of Converse or something. So then I've got my running shoes and my any extra event shoes, if that makes sense. Same for Dogs in Need. I'll probably take 3 different options for any extra events like going out. And again, I'll probably take the same pair of, maybe my jeans or something. I'll probably only need 1, but then I'll probably also take some denim shorts if it's really hot. So there's 2. And this is for 7 days. I'll reuse them. But then maybe I'd take 3 or maybe 4 nice tops just in case. Again, probably 3. Probably won't need any more than 3 for 7 days. Again, you could reuse if you need to, but stuff like that. So, and then maybe 1 jacket for going out when you're not competing. And like I said, that other extra pair of shoes. So you got to think about extra things you're doing as well, not just every day, every event, if that makes sense. Number 5, pack food that doesn't need refrigerating. So this has been the hardest thing, I think, for me. I eat a lot and I like to keep, I have a big appetite. I eat a lot of protein and stuff like that. But you need to pack food that you don't need to keep in the refrigerator or the freezer, obviously, unless you have one. A lot of caravans have one, so that's fine. But if you're in a tent like me, then you need to think about what you're going to take. So we have a gas stove, so we're going to take eggs, beans, stuff like that we can cook. Porridge we can do on the stove, as well as coffee and hot drinks like that. Obviously, I'm going to take my protein powder, my chia seeds, my peanut butter, all the things that don't need refrigerating. I'm going to take my Huel drinks, obviously, little plug there, which are perfect because I won't need to cook anything. I can just have that as a meal. And down that in one go and get all my nutrients, use my link. And then what else are we taking? We're taking pot noodles, but the protein healthier version, the Itsu ones. Obviously we can do those on a stove. And just stuff like that that you don't need, that doesn't need refrigerating. So you can take some fruit and veg as well. And just don't take stuff like, you can't take stuff like yogurts or milk, but instead of milk we're taking like the powdered milk that you can put in stuff like coffees and stuff like that. So really think about what you're taking, think about what you eat day to day, and then think anything that needs refrigerating, what's an alternative to that you could have instead, if that makes sense. So like the protein noodles, you're still getting in your protein, but you don't need a refrigerator, and that we can do that on the stove. Obviously if you don't have a stove it's even harder, but that's just something you've really got to think about. So pack food, oh yeah. So number 6 is keep your supply of drinking water stocked up. So when you get to your campsite, know where all of the taps are for drinking water. That's super important, especially if it's hot in the summer. Like last KCI and Dogs in Need, I think it was like in the 30s, high 30s, it was so hot, 40 degrees. The last thing you want to do is run out of water for you and your dog. So make sure you take lots of water with you, but then you know where you can fill that up quickly if you run out. So that goes without saying. Just know where you get your drinking water and keep it stocked up. Don't let it all run out. When you need to go and run or something, have that stocked up at all times. As long as you at least have one like jug of it at a time, just don't let it run out. Number 7, introduce your dog to a food that doesn't need freezing. So for example, my dogs are raw fed, needs keeping in the freezer and defrosting in the fridge. So obviously we can't feed them on that. We will take it in the cool box to start with, and they can have that on the first day, but that's it. After that they have to have something else. Luckily they're already used to having Eden semi-moist as treats, so that's what they'll be eating the rest of the time, because obviously it doesn't need refrigerating, it just needs storing in a cool place. So again, just make sure it's stored somewhere where it's going to stay cool, like in the shade in the back of your van or something like that. I know the back of our van's very cool, it depends, only you know that. But then another thing you can do if you have raw fed dogs is to invest in a freeze dried raw product. I've never used it, so I can't plug any, but I know it does exist, and it is something I'm going to look into for next summer. There's not enough time now to get my dogs weaned onto that in time. Again, don't just go from feeding your dogs raw to suddenly feeding them on semi-moist or kibble that they haven't had before. Make sure it's still something that your dog's used to, and get them onto that, during the few weeks before you go away. That's super important. Last thing you want is a dog throwing up and having diarrhea in your tent while you're away and you're meant to be competing. Nightmare. So make sure you plan that out in advance. And then number 8 is take money for extra food. So again, you should take enough food, but obviously you never know if you might run out, or something does go off somehow, you never know. So just make sure you take money that you could get extra lunch or extra dinner. Again, I always take plenty of money because me and my friends go out and do a lot, on the rest days of Dogs in Need and in the evenings and stuff. We'll get a pizza a few nights, we'll go out for a meal at a restaurant nearby a few nights maybe. So yeah, just take extra money for stuff you just always want to have. Food is probably the most important part. You really don't want to run out of that and be stuck if anything were to happen. So just make sure you've got plenty of money in that bank account, just in case you need extras while you're there. I know KCI, there's an Aldi opposite, so that's perfect. We'll probably stock up on our food supply there. And if you're really desperate for something that needs refrigerating, you can go over to the Aldi, buy, say, a yogurt and eat it on the spot, and you've had it. And yeah, stuff like that. So 9 is invest in multiple portable chargers. This is the best thing I ever did. I did it the first year, last year. I think I got 4 multiple chargers, 4 portable chargers, the big ones, and that lasted me KCI and Dogs in Need. And obviously we went home after 4 days, recharged them, and then go back to Dogs in Need, and that made sure my phone kept charged, my Apple Watch kept charged, my AirPods if I needed them, my laptop this year. So, but you're going to need more than 1 or 2. So I think I took 4, but I think this year I've got 5. I can't tell you the exact battery life, but yeah, 1 portable charger will not do if you're going away for that long. Even if you're just going away for 3 days, 1 won't last. So especially if you have multiple devices to do them on like me. So just invest in, I'd say 4 or 5 good high power portable chargers. Yes, they are about £25 each, but again, if you know you're going away maybe for next year, start buying them now, gradually every payday or something, and that is huge. It feels like you've got electric, even if you don't have electric on your, obviously on your camping pitch. That is pretty much, it feels like you've got it, so definitely do that. I've lost where I am. 10, invest in a gazebo or awning. So we have a gazebo. This just is, you know, it provides extra shade that you can sit under, get the dogs under, stuff like that, instead of always just being in your tent, because it does get really hot. And that also helps to shade the tent as well, or the caravan, so that it doesn't get hot inside, because as you know, tents warm up a lot. Or if you don't want a gazebo, you could get an awning for the outside, and it's like a little porch, or a little porch, as if you would have, like you would have at home almost. So that is super helpful. I'd definitely take something else as well as your tent, so that you can sit outside and still be in the shade. So pack multiple light sources and corresponding batteries. So especially if you're camping, it's a nightmare at night. If you've been somewhere and you're coming back and it's pitch black, you know, sorting yourself out, making sure the dogs are sorted out and they're not loose or anything, getting ready for bed, stuff like that. So you need light sources. So we have little lanterns, we have fairy lights, and obviously you need to take the batteries that go with them. Make sure you've got plenty of batteries in case they run out. But yeah, definitely take some good strong light sources. And it just makes life loads easier, doesn't it, while you're in a tent and it's dark. So pack hand sanitizer as well, because this has happened to me a few times while I've been away. The Portaloos nearby have ran out of soap or hand sanitizer themselves, and then you've got to go a day without washing your hands after the toilet, which is awful, and you'll probably, you know, you don't want to spread germs, pick stuff up, especially while you're away. So take your own hand sanitizer or wet wipes for that purpose, so you can come back and use it and just stay hygienic, because obviously camping in the middle of the field, sometimes it's a struggle to be hygienic, but do your best and just take that with you, because yeah, just a warning, they do run out, and if they're not stocked up regularly, which at a big show like KCI where it's huge, you know, they're not always going to be on top of stocking those up immediately. So take your own. Keep your space clean and organised, again a bit like the hygiene aspect. Not only does it de-stress you, but it just keeps you always want a clean and organised space. If it's organised, you know where everything is. You're not going to be panicking, losing everything, because obviously at home you know where everything is, but you don't, it's a different routine. So put things in their place when you get there and try and keep it like that through the whole duration of your stay. And then it makes it feel more homely, and you know where everything is when you need to go get it. Often tents have like pockets that you can put things in and stuff, which is super helpful. And then obviously keep it clean, for obvious reasons. Who doesn't want their space to be clean? But also you don't want to attract things like wasps and bees and stuff like that. Could sting you, could sting your dog. You just don't want to attract all of that. You know, you're in the middle of a field, it's probably hot as well. So just don't leave food about, apple cores, anything like that. And as far as washing pots goes, we just had a bucket, took some fairy liquid, got some water and just washed stuff straight away, so we didn't attract those things. Make sure you're sleeping on something comfortable. So obviously you're competing every day, so you're running around, you're exerting energy. A day of competing is very tiring. If you can't sleep during the night, you're going to have a horrible time, because you're going to be knackered the whole time. So make sure you know where you're sleeping and it's comfortable. So for example, we have an airbed. Make sure you know how hard or soft you like your airbed, and take, you know, duvets, your own pillows from home, so it feels more homely, like you're sleeping at home. You know, a face mask, earplugs if you need it, because you know it can be quite loud. I think there was a train track near somewhere I went to camp, and it was so loud with the trains and animals and stuff. So you know, you could take some earplugs, or you know, and as well it gets quite light. Obviously in a tent in the morning gets quite bright, so you could take an eye mask, stuff like that. Take some comfortable pajamas, again pajamas for different weathers, so some shorts and a vest pajamas, and then some longer thicker pajamas depending on obviously the weather. Maybe a fleece as well, because it does get quite cold at night even in the summer, and then obviously in the morning it does get very hot in a tent, so just bear in mind that like I said, it's maybe best to wear cooler pajamas to bed with lots of duvets, and then in the morning when you get hot you can just kick the duvets off and stuff and be cool. So just make sure you have a good sleeping arrangement, that you can comfortably get to sleep, because that's so important. And likewise, make sure your dog has somewhere comfortable to sleep. So Ethel sleeps on the airbeds with us, she loves that. And then Arrow sleeps in his crate next to my airbed with his usual bed in it. So it's literally his normal setup. And if it's cold, then we'll put them in their fleeces, in their Herta fleeces. He does have an extra fleece all in one, but no, the Herta fleeces overnight so they don't get cold, because obviously you are out in the elements, kind of. And just stuff like that, because obviously your dog's competing, your dog also needs to be rejuvenated and have lots of energy. So just, I'd say for you and your dog, just try and keep it as close to home as possible. So keep the setup as close as possible to how it is at home, and your dog will sleep better and feel more comfortable. So pack everything that you normally take to a show. So basically, to keep it nice and simple and easy for you, think about what would you take if you were just day tripping to one day show, and pack that, and then think how many days you're away for and double that amount by however many days you are. Again, take your dog's ball. You don't have to double that, that's that. But then maybe treats, maybe take, 4 times the amount if you're there for 4 days and stuff like that. So try and just think of it as a normal competition. Take everything you need for a normal day of competing. Then think how many days you're there for before you come home, and just take extras of things if necessary. So pack a canine first aid kit. This is super important. Again, I know someone whose dog recently got stung at a show and had to have the vet. But again, if you're camping, there's beasties and stuff like that. Again, wasps, bees, stuff like that. So just take a canine first aid kit. You got some bandages. You got your, scissors for cutting them. You've got I think there's like a disinfectant thing. I think there's an eye drop. And what else is in there? Oh, a tick pick as well. Because you're in a field, the grass may be long, so take a tick picker as well. Just cautions like that. And if you've got one, maybe take a human one as well. But yeah, I think that's something that people forget. But I have a canine first aid kit in the car and in the van. No, I think it's in the van. It's in the van when we go in the van, just in case the worst does happen. It's nice to be prepared. So spend plenty of time. Like these last 3 are sort of more light-hearted tips. Spend plenty of time away from your tent. So you don't want to spend the entire time just sat in your tent or sat outside your tent. It gets boring, and it can just feel a bit meh as compared to being at home. So your camping, really, your tent is for sleeping in mainly. So you're at an event in the day, go and enjoy the event, do things, go to other people's caravans if they invite you. Don't just sit in your tent when you're not competing. Go out and spend time doing other things, like I said, maybe go out for tea at a nearby restaurant, go shopping to a nearby shop, stuff like that. Don't just spend all your time in the tent, because it's not going to be that fun. It's like living out of a room. So just make sure that you are enjoying the event and doing stuff away from your, sleeping quarters, if you like. Make the most of quiet periods and relax. So at the same time as that, if you are feeling a little bit drained, a little bit overwhelmed by the whole thing, you can go back to your tent. Obviously you've got that base there, and just relax for an hour or so, read, whatever, have a lie down on your airbed if you're not too hot in there. And it's a great experience, but it is very tiring. So yeah, just make the most of those quiet moments you get, and just chill out for a bit. It will really help you enjoy the whole event. You're not going to burn out as quick. And then lastly, 20 is enjoy the experience. So again, it's really fun. I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to it. It can be hard work, but again, as long as you're not rushing, I think that really takes all the stress and the pressure away, and you can just enjoy it. Think of it as a holiday. Don't get too uptight about the competition. If it's like that, if it's like the Casey and Dogs in Need situation that I'm going to, that is my holiday for the year. Think of it as a holiday, socialise, just have a great time and enjoy it. And just think of it as an experience. And if you're uncomfortable, remember it will end in a week or so, or even less, and you will get back to home. You will get back to your, home comforts in your own bed. So just enjoy it while it's there, and you'll have a great time. So that is my camping survival guide for agility competitors. I hope you enjoyed the episode and that was a little bit helpful for some of you. And that's pretty much it. You know the drill. I will put all my social media links here on the screen on YouTube and down below in the description on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Make sure to use my Huel link as well. That would mean the world to me, as I said in the ad at the start of the episode. And if you could leave a rating or review on the podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, that would mean the world to me. Again, you know the drill. hopefully 5 stars, and keep sending me your ideas for future episode topics and guests you would like me to have on. And again, I'm trying to get these things sorted in advance. If you would like to do an episode with me and we'll have a video chat, then please message me with your interest and say what you think we could talk about, and we'll get that arranged. So that is pretty much it. I won't record an episode now until I'm back from KCI and Dogs in Need. Crazy. Quite proud of myself for batch recording all of them, getting organised for you guys. But anyway, with that, I will see you all next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Bye guys.